Welcome back, y'all. Back in September, I made a video where I ranked the community's favorite Roblox games using a tier list. Since then, a lot of new dress-up games have been released, and I've been getting a bunch of comments from people asking me to try them out. So here's part 2 of ranking the best fashion games on Roblox. If you didn't watch the first video, I highly recommend you check it out, but if not, that's okay, I respect your decision. Please watch it. Here's a quick rundown of how the tier list works. There's a total of 6 games that I'll be ranking. Normally the tiers are S, A, B, C, and D, but to spice it up a bit, I gave each rank a cute little name to match the vibe of the video. In my tier list, the highest rank is 8 left no crumbs, the second tier is cleared, third tier is mini slay, fourth tier is I guess, and the lowest tier is this ain't it. Since this is part 2, I'm going to add to the previous template that I made, that way people can see which games I've ranked and which ones are missing. Before we start, I just want to emphasize that I'm not making this video to spread hate. I just like coming on here to yap for a bit and give my opinions. If you don't agree with my opinions, that's 100% okay. Also, please be respectful in the comments towards these game developers. You're more than welcome to express your thoughts and feelings, but like I always say, please be very demure and very mindful in the comments. With that being said, let's go ahead and start with a fan favorite. Dress to Flop is a parody game of Dress to Impress, which released earlier this year around April. The game basically borrows old assets and new assets from DTI, but trust me y'all, it does not play anything like the actual game. It's named Dress to Flop for a good reason. When you first enter the game, you'll load into a lobby that looks almost the same as the old one from DTI. But off to the side, you'll see the iconic meat room with Lana's head in the middle. In order to start playing, you'll need to use the goofy teleporter that spins you 100 miles an hour. Once you're done spinning, you'll end up in the makeup and hair section of the game. Now the biggest difference between Dress to Flop and DTI is that you're not playing to win, you're playing to flop. When choosing a face to wear, all you need to do is walk up to it and it will automatically apply it to your head. The gag is if you go and choose a skin color right after, this happens. Next, you can choose a wig in the beauty salon section, or you can teleport to the remove DTI hair area and choose from there. Now anytime you put a wig on, your face gets removed. And if you accidentally put the wrong wig on, good luck, it's never coming off. Once you're done choosing your makeup and hair, enter the dressing room teleporter. This is where the real chaos begins. When you first enter, you'll notice Lena on fire at the nail station, and right next to her is Lana doing this non-stop. If you go to the right, you'll see some clothes and shoes you can choose from. Some of them work and some of them don't, but honestly, the first thing I do whenever I play this game is grab the super tall heels because they're so fetch.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Now it's a Dress to Flop custom to dance with Lana in her little containment area, so of course I did just that, and I totally did not make that up. Whenever you go to the other side of the map, you'll be able to find the beloved hot dog costume that DTI removed a few weeks ago. It looks so good with the heels, oh my god. I would love if DTI added these shoes to free play mode just so we can goof around, but I already know the trolls are going to ruin it for all of us. Anyways, right next to the hot dog stand are tanning booths. Now for this recent Dress to Flop update, they gave players the option to dress up as Plankton or Duolingo. Plankton didn't work for me, which is probably my fault, not gonna lie, so I chose Duolingo instead. I ended up dancing with baddie Duolingo for a bit, but then she left, so I went to the runway. You can pretty much do whatever you want up there. Usually I'll just spam dances and poses, but that's pretty much it for the gameplay. If you're watching this right now thinking, wow, that looks so fun, I want to play it now, I'm sorry to say, but Dress to Flop is closed and won't be back until the winter holidays. This isn't uncommon though. Back in June, one of the developers posted a TikTok with a caption that said, "As enjoyable as it was, Dress to Flop sadly has to go because it includes inappropriate dances. We don't want to expose any young players to this content for everyone's safety, so it needs to be made private. Until next time, Dress to Flop." And in the comments section, the official DTI account commented, "Thanks for understanding, Rico." Originally, it sounded like the game was gone for good, however, it made a comeback sometime in September, and then it came back around for Halloween. Honestly, that's the only con I have regarding this game. I wish it was available more often for people to play, but other than that, I think it's really funny and I love the chaos of it all. I'm gonna go ahead and put Dress to Flop in the cleared tier. Let's move on to the next one. The next game we'll be reviewing is Fashion Divas, which was released in 2023. While this is a competitive fashion game, it plays very different from the ones I'm used to. I actually played a similar game back in 2020 with my daughter, but I think it got deleted or I just forgot the name. In Fashion Divas, you have a total of 4 minutes and 35 seconds to get ready. The area where you load in is the same place where you'll change your skin tone and choose the face you want to wear. As for everything else, you're gonna have to travel to multiple different buildings to get the items you need. Thankfully, Thankfully they're labeled, but oh my god, it's a whole journey to finish an outfit. Pretty much every item in the game comes from the Roblox marketplace, which is fine since they're all free to use, unlike another game I ranked previously. Once the timer's up, you head to the stage with other players to compete. Now the cute part about this game is that if you give a lot of stars out, you get the title most stars given, which I think is nice, especially if little kids are playing this. And then there's first, second, and third place as usual. I know there's some of y'all yelling at the screen right now like, "Punk, talk about the lore, there's lore in this game." Yes, you heard that right. This is another fashion game that has creepy lore to it, similar to DTI. However, Fashion Divas actually had lore in its game before DTI, so it could be argued that Fashion Diva is the first fashion game on Roblox to have horror included in it. Honestly, I would love to make a video dedicated to Fashion Diva lore because it's so wild. So if you're interested in watching that, let me know in the comments. But besides that, I'm not gonna lie, I know the game has a 29% rating, but I actually had fun while playing it. I don't know, I think it's the simplicity of it. You don't need to do a lot in order to make an outfit, but it still kept me entertained since I had a scavenger hunt for everything. It also gives me nostalgia of when my daughter and I first played Roblox together. The only con I have with this game is that the majority of players are bots, which is actually a part of the lore. Based on the research I've done, the game is basically not a real fashion game, but it's real to me. I'm gonna go ahead and put Fashion Divas in the mini slay category. Don't judge me. Now the next game is one that everyone in the DTI community has been talking about, both good and bad. I've also had a lot of people asking me to try it out, so let's go ahead and get into it. Strut in Style is a new fashion game that released at the end of October this year. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews regarding this game from the dress up community, but the majority seems to really enjoy it. I'll go over the gameplay first, and then we can talk about the mini drama surrounding the game. When entering Strut in Style, you load into an intermission lobby. Once the round starts, you have 6 minutes to get your look together. The outfit making part of the game is pretty much the same as all the other fashion games on Roblox. However, in this game, makeup, hair, skin tone, and nails are all in one spot. This threw me off big time when I first started playing. I think I spent like 3 minutes walking around looking for the tanning boost before I realized all I had to do was walk over to the vanity. But in all honesty, it's way more convenient to have everything in one place rather than running around the map just to change hairstyles. The only downside I can see players having with this is that they'll finish making their outfits too soon and get bored while waiting for the round to end. I know that sounds wild to some of y'all, but there are people who live for the challenge. As for me though, I'm just a chill girl for real. Anyways, unlike DTI, you're not able to use a color wheel in order to create a specific skin tone. You can only use presets. Thankfully, they do have other colors available like yellow, pink, blue, etc. But I prefer being able to choose specific hex codes, especially when making a certain kind of outfit. The good news is, everything else in the game allows you to use a color wheel. We all cheered. Now, the hairstyles in this game are cute, but some of them look alike to each other. To be fair though, the game just released, so maybe in the future they'll add better variety. As for the nails, there's only one size to choose from as of right now, so hopefully they'll add different lengths soon. And finally, the makeup. I actually love the free makeup looks so much. They're all super gorgeous in my opinion. Moving on to the clothing, they have a really good amount of options to choose from, and the layering is pretty seamless, which we love to see. However, I wish the pattern selection was a bit better. That's one thing I always want dress up games to work on. It sucks when the look is eating down, but the needed pattern is nowhere to be found. As for the shoes and accessories, the selection is limited, but it's okay, we make it work. Next, let's talk about the runway. I absolutely love it. You can tell the devs were going for a real life runway show vibe. The aesthetic, lighting, and camera angles all feel so realistic to me. As for the poses, it's definitely a hit or miss. Some of them ate like crazy and others were not my cup of tea. Next, let's talk about the voting system. While it uses the classic 5-star rating mechanic, there's one big difference that I've seen a lot of players split on. Apparently, when you don't vote, you lose stars. And if you continuously vote other players 1 star, you lose stars as well. This is pretty much what players have been telling the DTI devs to add to the game in order to combat unfair voting. However, I've seen some people say they hate the system because if all the outfits suck, then you're basically forced to vote everyone 2 stars or more, even if that person literally didn't try. Now, the game hasn't been out for long, so it's too early to say whether this method works well or if it should be removed. But honestly, I think most players like this aspect aspect of the game. Overall, the game is very well made in my opinion. My only con is that there aren't enough patterns or accessories, but I know the game is still new, so I can't complain too much. Before I rank this game, let's briefly discuss the drama between Strut and Style and the DTI community. I've seen a lot of players saying that Strut and Style copy the DTI bodies, the hairs, the faces, etc. And I'm gonna be 100% honest right now, I can see some of the similarities. That's not to say they straight up ripped off DTI, but you can tell the devs took inspiration from it. Personally, I don't think any of the hairs look alike to the ones from DTI, but I can see why people think the DTI body and makeup look somewhat similar. I don't know, but let me know in the comments what you think. I'm placing Strut and Style in the clear tier. It still needs some work here and there, but it has a lot of potential in my opinion. The next game is called Slay the Runway, which was released at the beginning of this year. I literally never heard of this game before until it popped up on my homepage, so I knew I had to add it to the list. When you first enter the game, you're asked to choose between a masculine or femme body type before continuing. Once that's done, you'll load into the main lobby that looks like a ballroom. There's NPCs dancing, there's instruments, food, and there's...
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god, what is that?
Okay, so we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. I have my thoughts about it, but for now, let's talk about the dress up aspect. In Slay the Runway, you can decide whether you want to present your outfit or sit out for each round. If you do join, you'll have a total of 5 minutes to get dressed. One thing that makes this game different from the rest is that there's a grinding aspect to it. While you do have a couple of clothing and accessory options to choose from, the hair, shoes, and makeup selection is small. However, the reason for this is you have to pay in-game currency to buy more items. If you go into the shop, you'll find a lot of items that come in handy when playing competitively. I know some of y'all are listening to this thinking, I'm never playing this, and trust me, I understand. Whenever you're in the main lobby, there's clothing you're able to redeem as a first-time player. You can also claim login bonuses, so if you come back every day, you'll be able to get more clothes for free. Also, the game rewards you for playing a certain amount of time. As for currency, you can grind by either competing in fashion shows, playing instruments around the main lobby, or... Okay, let me just talk about it. I don't think this should be in a kid's game. It would be different if it was like soda or smoothies, but this is undisputably a bar. The more concerning part is that if you walk over to the glass sitting at the end of the table, you're able to actually drink. Some of y'all might be wondering, well, what's the age rating on this game? Before Roblox changed their age rating system, it showed us for all ages, but now it shows us maturity minimal, which is basically the same thing. As a parent, I don't think it's okay to have this in a kid's game. If you're going to include something like this in your game though, it definitely should have a higher age rating in my opinion. But anyways, let's get into the runway part. The main voting is the same 5-star system we always see. However, you're able to purchase gifts using the heart currency to give to players you felt had the best outfits. Basically like TikTok gifts.
Yeah, strong woman. Grab.
I think it's an interesting addition to the voting part of the game, but the one complaint I have is that the voting sometimes glitches. If I try voting someone, it'll randomly say you can't vote for yourself when it's literally not me. Anyways, the runway is cute, but it's personally not my favorite. As for the poses, I like the majority of them. I think they're sweet, except this one right here that makes it look like All Might from MHA. Overall, I think the whole concept of this game is very unique and it puts a twist on your average Roblox fashion game. I like that you're able to earn a lot of free items and currency, and I also like how easy it is to grind for money. With that being said, it's not a fair playing field. New players will have way less items to work with compared to people who have been grinding for days. There's also a lot of bugs in this game. I'm gonna go ahead and put Slay the Runway in the I guess tier. I almost put it in the mini Slay tier because honestly, I had some fun playing it, but it definitely needs some work. Now let's move on to one of my new favorite fashion games of 2024. So I actually talked about this game in my last video, however it was still in beta. As of October 20th, the official game has released. When you first join the game, you'll load into a cute intermission lobby where players get to vote for the next theme. Once the round starts, you have 5 minutes and 25 seconds to finish. One of my favorite things about this game is that there's a lot of makeup tables and salon chairs available. This means you don't have to fight for your life to get a seat. Now regarding makeup, there's so many options to choose from, which I love. Every single face is giving giving brat vibes. As for the hairstyles, they're all super beautiful and well made. I also absolutely adore the clothing options in this game. Now some of the items you see displayed can only be bought with in-game currency called heartbeats, but they're not too hard to grind for in my opinion. Moving on to the runway, I think it's refreshing to see it in an outside environment. The runway actually reminds me a lot of the old Bratz games from the 2010s where you would just skate around and explore. Next, let's talk about the poses. I love how unique and extra the majority of them are. My new pose 28 is this one right here. Real quick, I do want to highlight the music in this game. It's super catchy. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the previous video, but I can't say it enough. For this game, the only con I have is the amount of time given. I personally feel like it would be better if players had 6 minutes instead, since the map is so big. But other than that, I'm super happy that the game is finally released, and I can't wait for the devs to add more updates. I highly recommend for everyone to check it out. I'm putting Fashion Stars in the 8 left no crumbs tier. Now that we're done with that, let's move on to the final game. Dress Up Very Charming, which side note, whenever I first read it, I thought it was Dress Up Very Charmin, like the toilet paper brand, since they're literally spelled the same. But anyways, this game was originally not on my list, but I felt like I needed one more. So I ended up making a community post asking people to suggest fashion games I should rank. And don't worry, if you commented under the video, I'm going to look over the suggestions again for part 3. Out of all the games listed, for some reason, Dress Up Very Charming caught my eye. It was recommended to me by Illy Billy Boo. When you first join the game, you're immediately thrown into whatever round is active at the moment. And when the round is over, you go straight into another one. No intermission, just go, go, go. Now I'm gonna be super honest when I say this. This game kinda reminds me of Fashion Show, which I do not like. Anyways, this game also uses marketplace items. As for the actual gameplay, you just walk around and grab everything that you need from different areas in the map. Most of the choices are okay, but you can't layer anything in this game. Just one item per section, which isn't the worst thing, I guess, but if you're used to playing fast-paced games or you love making super complicated outfits, this game would not bring you any happiness. Honestly, the only thing I enjoyed was the dressing room music. It's super iconic, so I'll give them points for that. During the runway show, you use the same 5-star system. However, you have the option to throw roses and candy canes at people, but it's low-key messy because I'd throw roses and candy canes at everyone, but as soon as I came out, crickets. The last thing I'm going to mention about this game is the unfair voting. It's on another level, but I'm pretty sure this game is mainly played by little ones. So if the theme is safari and I don't come out with a pink dress and a crown, I'm done for. Honestly, the game wasn't super fun for me, but it wasn't as bad as Fashion Show. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right next to Slay the Runway in the I guess tier. And those are all the games we have for this video. Here's the final results of the tier list. I actually made my tier list into a template that y'all can use, so if you're interested, the link is in the description. If y'all do end up using it, share it with me on Twitter, Blue Sky, or on Discord. Personally, I feel like there's a lot of fashion games coming out recently, which isn't a bad thing depending on who you ask, but I feel like some creators are just riding off the dress up game craze and don't really put a lot of effort into making fun games. Oh well, what can we do? Also, I'll mention this again just because I know some people will comment it, but not every fashion game is copying DTI. With that being said, I think it's okay to question certain games if it feels like they're definitely taking too much inspiration from DTI or any other game for that matter. At the end of the day, it's the developer's job to grab those concepts and make it their own by adding things that separate it from the original. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below if you played any of these dress up games. Do you love or hate any of them? Also, if you have any suggestions for games I should add for part 3, let me know. Before I close this video, thank you to everyone who helped the channel reach 30k subs. I really do appreciate all the love y'all show me. I'm sorry the uploads were a bit slow recently. I promise there'll be more videos soon. Okay, bye. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, bye. See you. Bye. Take care. Bye.